Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sean Mayhew is suing his ex-wife, Amber Mayhew, for back child support. Amber is countersuing for utilities.
I'm going to make the following suggestion. That any monies that you give him by certified check, by money order, keep a receipt, or by personal check, which you will get back from him. That you do not accept any cash from her, ever. I'm giving you certain credit for the utility bill of $350. I'm offsetting that against what I believe is a reasonable adjustment of the plaintiff's claim for back child support, and I'm awarding you, sir, $700. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case basically shows that not all dads are deadbeat dads, and they could be the mother, too.
He said that he was going to do whatever he could to get me back, that I screwed him, and, he was going to screw me.
And now the next case.
All parties on Neiman versus Brown. Step forward, please.
29-year-old teacher Kimberly Neiman and her husband, 36-year-old driving instructor Frederick Neiman, are suing Kimberly's father, 59-year-old Kenneth Brown, for a credit card he used to start a business with her brother.
I hate it when families sue each other. So, Miss Neiman, this is your dad. Is that right?
Yes.
And according to your complaint, some time ago, your dad asked to borrow some money from you.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you gave him a credit card.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And bill is way past now $5,000. And you want him to pay the bill. Okay, Mr. Brown.
I did ask to borrow the credit card. It was a bit small business.
I know that you have a daughter. According to your answer, you also have a son.
Yeah.
Was the credit card for your son's use or for your use?
For his use.
So why didn't he ask his sister to borrow the card?
They feud and fight.
What did you say to them when you borrowed the credit card?
I told her that Ken would be using it. His name is the same as mine.
Well, your problem, Mr. Brown, is I read your answer. And what you said to me in the answer was, this is between brother and sister.
Yeah.
You borrowed the credit card. You allowed your son to use it. You say she knew that he was going to use it for a business. Was this business that the two of you were starting together, you and your son?
Yeah, him and I originally, but then we collapsed it.
You have to pay the bill. And then if you feel as if your son owes you money because you had to take on this responsibility, you might have to do what she's doing now. But the card was given to you.
Correct. I just feel that the two of them knew what they were doing, both of them, both sides, that they ought to be dealing with each other.
Well, she knew what she was doing. She was loaning her father her credit card. Is that right?
That's correct.
And according to you, she and her brother didn't get along. Is that right?
Right.
So it's possible that if her brother came to her and said, I'd like to borrow a clean credit card that has a full line of credit, she would have said no. Right?
Possibly.
So you understand, sir, the reason that the credit card was given was because you asked for it. She was relying on you to pay off the bill. She wouldn't have given the credit card to your son. He probably knew that.
Yeah.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Are you in a family dispute? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
So let me see the balance on the credit card.
This is the newest one. The balance is right.
Have you made any payments at all on these bills?
I have, yeah.
You have?
But they have paid me back. I have other credit cards that they owe me money on.
They advised you almost a year ago that they were removing you as an authorized user of the account. Is that right?
Yeah, we requested that.
You
yeah.
requested that.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of these bills after they were removed as an authorized user of the account?
There hasn't been anything since
There
then.
hasn't been anything after that? Okay. Well, this is well over the $5,000 limit, Mr. Brown. But this is your responsibility. And if you feel as if the business didn't go anywhere that you and your son went to, it failed?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Well, that's not their fault. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next.
All parties on Nocera versus Clark. Step forward, please.
60-year-old Sal Nocera says neighbor 22-year-old James Clark damaged his front door after Sal parked in his space.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 685 on the calendar in the matter of Nocera versus Clark. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
How long have the two of you been neighbors?
Since December.
Of 1990?
8, ma'am.
And how long have you been living on that property, sir?
I've been in my home for 19 years.
So you just moved in?
Yes, ma'am.
Evidently, there's some major parking problem here. Is that right?
Yes.
That's correct.
Now, is there a garage where the two of you park your car?
No, we have assigned spots. They are small. And
But
somewhat,
outdoor spots?
Yes.
Okay, and your spot is next to Mr. Clark's.
One of my spots.
He's actually got 3 spots.
Good for him. He's been there 19 times as long as you have, so now he has 3 spots.
Right.
But one of his spots is next to your spot.
Correct.
And I gather that from the time Mr. Clark moved in, there has been an ongoing problem. Is that right?
Yes, it's very difficult to park in the back. I don't have much problem as I have a compact car, an 87 Honda. And the Clarks have a pickup truck, somewhat large, but...
It's a Ranger. It's a small truck. It's not a big truck.
It's a truck.
Right.
It's bigger than his car.
Not really, Your Honor. It's a light-duty truck. Doesn't have a standard cab. It's not very big. It doesn't take up a lot of parking spot. I mean...
Okay, but you've had ongoing problems with each other about this spot, about hanging over a little bit on his side and hanging over a little bit on your side. So this problem started, you got angry one day at him.
Correct.
I'm not going to go into the whole history of it. He says you came banging at his door.
Correct.
And you damaged the door. So, what brought you to his door?
Well, the fact that he parked in my parking spot intentionally, just to be snippy, just to instigate an incident. So I got mad at it. So I parked off street and I went up to his door and I started banging on his door. Now, when I banged on his door, I noticed that it was loose and damaged up top, so I began to bang on the bottom. So, I'm banging, I'm telling him to come out, and, so he can move his car. Now, before I went up, I noticed there was a letter hanging on his window saying, I have video footage of my car. If there's any damage, I will take you to court, as if I was going to do something to his car, which I wasn't. I just wanted him to move it. And that's what I was asking him to do. The whole time I'm yelling up to his window, please move your car, please move your car. Now, he mentions in his letter that I made a homophobic remark to him, which I did, and I apologized to him for that. I had no right to say that to him. But, but other than that, as far as the damage to his door, it never happened. And I have a witness, my wife, went up to his house. He was having interior work done, and he had invited her to his house. This was in December when we were on okay terms. And she noticed, and she can testify that his door was already, and it's rusted up top, and he already had damage done to his door. Because when I spoke to the detective...
Don't tell me what the detective said.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Nocera, he says, and you seem to indicate as well, that just prior to that, he had parked in your space or a little bit over your space. You went up to tell him to move his car, or
Yes.
you called to tell him to move his car, and he was in the shower. Is that right?
That's correct. That was that same day.
The same day. And your wife was at home?
Yes, Your Honor.
You drive?
No, I don't.
And you said, wait until I get out of the shower.
Right. Actually, I knew the car was not parked in the spot. When I had went out there after the shower, a quarter of an inch on the white line. On the white line. The white line's about this thick. My tires were a quarter of an inch on the white line, not in his parking spot.
Does that sound familiar to you, that you had a complaint that day?
Pretty much. That is, as I say, it is very difficult to get into those spots. Often the Clarks will park on the white line or in the white line on the front and slightly over the white line in the back. That makes it impossible.
There's bars in the way. There's
right.
no way I can...
Now, Mr. Nocera, according to Mr. Clark, sir, there was a time when you were friendly with his wife.
Yes, sure.
Until when?
Well, since December, there were incidences of where the car was parked over the line, either the front or the back. Makes it, and Mr. Clark chooses to leave his tailgate down, which adds about 1.5 feet to the car, his truck. It makes it very difficult to get in, even with my Honda Civic. On that day that he says he's mistaken, I was in my spot, not over the line. I mean, I wouldn't purposely. I have pictures, Your Honor. I have a videotape.
And you'll actually see on the pictures that the door is actually ripped out.
Just a second, I haven't seen
I don't know
anything.
how banging caused that.
I haven't seen anything. It depends upon how hard you bang, sir.
Let's see. This is the wall inside, Your Honor, the damage that was done to inside my home.
How did he cause damage inside as a result of the banging?
Yes, he started off banging pretty hard. Somewhere about 10 minutes into this incident, he was pounding on the door, pounding on my window, ringing the doorbell.
Is that when he made his homophobic remark?
Yes, he was quite outraged, and he was saying pretty bad stuff. I don't know if I can repeat it here. There was a lot of F words, but he was very, very angry. And I was not about to open the door. In fact, I was on the 911 call, having the police come to try to work something out here, and the operator, in fact, heard the commotion and advised me not to.
Does the videotape have any part of this banging on the door?
Yes, it
sure
does.
May I see it, please?
On February the 15th, at somewhere between 11:30, 12 o'clock on that night, when he vandalized my door, you'll see a few seconds of it because
That's all.
It's going to be very dark, and you may see.
He never opened the door.
You begin to see
That's.
he came up about 12 o'clock last night. He was banging on the door and banging on the door and banging on the door and ringing the doorbell. I mean, he was just livid. This is the second incident of him pounding, which
I want to listen.
Can you answer the door, please?
Very violent.
I think it's the downstairs neighbor in 103. This is the second time. The last time he smashed my security door and caused damage to the wall inside. And now he's wanting me to come out and talk to him. I do not. I think that is basically it.
And the second time I actually responded to that second time when I came to his door, it's because he sent me this letter in the mail. And at the bottom he puts, P.S. You are asked to respond to this letter in the normal time allowed. I don't get letters all the time, but I figured, okay, maybe he calmed down and maybe he wants to speak to the incident. So I originally sent my wife up there to speak to him because I figured maybe he doesn't want to talk to me. And so he shuts the door on my wife, and then I thought, well, maybe he just wants to deal with me because it's between me and
you didn't.
her.
You got angry that he shut the door on your wife. Mr. Clark.
No, it wasn't because of that, Your Honor. It wasn't because I thought maybe he wants to speak to me. So when I went up, I even asked him, can you see it in the tape, can you please open the door? He claims it was banging. I call it knocking, but I mean, I probably should have caused an earthquake, according to him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I said I touched his door.
His door?
Okay.
You didn't touch his door.
And later today,
You also say that you want to pay the money back.
Verbally.
As opposed to what?
Written contract.
Go to law school in between you driving a limousine?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sal knows Sarah wants his neighbor, James Clark, to pay for his damaged front door. James says Sal parked in his space, but he didn't damage the door.
Your Honor, I have tried also mediation through the court. Mr. Clark refused. I have that here. I have the police officer's report, the detective's report. I have estimates of the work.
Let me see. When did this incident occur? February of '99?
Yes, that would be the 15th. The second one was, I think, the 22nd, as indicated on the videotape.
I have to read something, Mr. Nacera. police officer noticed the following and made note of the following in his police report. He took a picture of the damage to the screen door. He also noted that the screen was pulled out from the frame about 6 inches and the securing welds had been broken. I checked the door frame and noticed 2 stress cracks about 8 inches long in the upper right-hand corner of the door frame. The plaintiff advised me that the cracks were not there before Clark's knocking and the banging incident. We're not talking about rust here to the door, sir. We're talking about a door being knocked off the welds, and we're talking about stress cracks. Now, do you have an estimate?
Yes, there are 2 estimates from 2 different places on the replacement of the security door. The other estimate is from the painter who painted. I saved 2.5 years to have my unit painted. And may I also, Judge, note that Mr. Clark did not apologize to me. However, he did say to the police officer that he did call me faggot.
I tried to apologize to him the second time I came up to his door, and he wouldn't answer it. He put in the letter that he wanted me to respond to it, and when I went up there, I told him that I apologized for making the homophobic remarks. That was it.
Well,
I didn't apologize for damage I didn't do.
You can understand, sir, and I read what the remarks were, and they were pretty egregious. You could understand why he would not open the door if you're screaming that to him through his door.
That was the first time.
I'm talking about the first time. The first time is the time that I understand that this damage was done to the property. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, fine. So would you please indicate to me exactly what it cost to have this door repaired as well as...
Yes, right. The door cannot be repaired.
So you have to get a new door?
Yes, ma'am. It has to be installed.
What is the cost of the door?
According to, I have 2. One is from a local place, $250 plus a $50 delivery charge. The other is from Home Depot, comes to $272.96.
And what about the replastering of the...
That was $70. It's indicated on...
Okay.
How could I have called damage to his wall?
Mr. Clark, let me tell you something. When you lose your temper, which you clearly did on that evening, you lost your temper. Whatever the consequences are, it's going to be very difficult for you to establish to me, since he has testified that this was not there before. Is that right?
That's correct.
The fact that you say that it was an old door and that it was rusted on top, that has absolutely no consequence.
But my wife saw that the door was busted when she went up there. I mean, way before this incident happened, Your Honor. She saw the door. She saw his apartment complex. She saw it was being worked on by interior decorators.
Did you check the welding on the door when you went up there?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
She didn't check the welding on the door. This is an old door.
She's
not saying it's a new door.
She can see that the door is broken, it's loose up top. She doesn't have to see all the rivets.
I want to tell you something. If your wife was to stand there and tell me that she noticed when she went up there on a social visit that the welding that held the door in place was broken, I wouldn't believe her, and I wouldn't even ask her
But it was
question.
already broken, so when I went to bang on the door, of course it's going to bang. It's going to get even more loose.
Oh, then you're responsible.
I'm not responsible.
No, you are responsible. If
his door was already damaged.
Mr.
How
Clark,
could I have made damage to something that's already damaged?
You're not paying attention, sir. Did you hear what you just said? You just said if the door was already damaged, and because I banged on it, it was damaged further. I'm not responsible.
No.
That's exactly what you said to me.
I said I touched his door.
His door?
Okay.
You didn't touch his door.
His door was already damaged. I mean, how can I not knock on it and for it to not get loose? That's just not physically possible. His door was already broken, so I'm banging on it. It's already broken, so I'm not gonna. I mean, how could I have broken it?
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $340. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thanks. I've been there 19 years. It's a nice small complex. We're sort of very tightly knit. I would like the Clarks to fit in if we can only work out the parking situation.
I can put it behind me, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk to the guy as far as I'm concerned. He's just a neighbor.
And now the next case.
All parties on Black versus Hamilton. Step forward, please.
35-year-old limousine company owner Dolores Black is suing former driver David Hamilton for a loan. David is countersuing for the cost of Armani suits he used for uniforms.
Ms. Black, you own a limousine company?
That's correct.
And according to your complaint, the defendant was an employee of yours for some time. How long?
Off and on for a few years.
As a driver?
That's correct.
You loaned him some money, $2,000.
Yes,
he had
I
some
did.
financial difficulties. He paid you back $500, according to you, after you made some repeated attempts to try to collect the debt, and he still owes you $1,500.
That's correct.
Now, Mr. Hamilton, I read your answer. So your answer says that, well, you had some financial difficulties, and you acknowledge, sir, that you borrowed this money from the plaintiff. So far, is that right?
So far, so good.
You also say that you ought to pay the money back, right?
Verbally.
As opposed to what?
Written contract.
You go to law school in between you driving a limousine?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You say that as part of your job, you were required to look nice.
Expected.
Bought yourself an Armani suit, Brooks Brothers suit, a Canali suit. Then we got white shirts.
Perry Ellis.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Limousine company owner Dolores Black is suing former driver David Hamilton for a loan. David wants Dolores to pay for his designer uniforms.
Now, was there any time set for the repayment of this loan, Miss Black?
Yes, there was.
What was the time?
By the end of the month.
By the end of the month?
July of '98, that's correct.
Does that sound right to you?
No.
So you disagree on that, but it's not particularly relevant. Now, what I loved about your response was your counterclaim. You say that as part of your job, you were required to look nice.
Expected.
And that there was an agreement that the plaintiff would reimburse you 50% for your employee uniforms.
That's true.
Is that correct?
To a certain amount, that is correct.
Did he ever furnish you with bills for his uniforms?
No, he did not. And in fact, the employment contract states up to $150, which he signed, and Lonnie, an employee of the company, is the witness to that.
So here we go, and this is the best part. This is what your countersuit is. By the way, you do drive a limousine, which means you're supposed to be in a dark suit, right?
Correct.
Right. Nice black suit, and a white shirt, and a tie. Any color that you like, as long as it's conservative and it doesn't have a picture of Pluto on the front, right?
It depends who you're driving that week.
Bought yourself an Armani suit
Yes, ma'am.
for $1,200? Got good taste. Brooks Brothers suit, $700. This guy's got quite a sense of humor. A Canali suit for $700. How much money did you earn?
Average was probably $8 an hour. Gratuities could exceed $10 an hour on top of that.
So the grand total of $18 an hour, that doesn't require an Armani suit for $1,200. Then we got white shirts. 10 shirts you bought at $40 a shirt.
Perry Ellis.
Love it. Now, this one would really send my husband into a tailspin. You know, he likes those ties 3 for $10 that you buy, you know. 6 ties at $45 a piece, $270. And here we go. This is almost my favorite. 2 pairs of shoes at $210 a pair. You don't even walk around as a limousine driver.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Your lawsuit's the most ridiculous thing I ever saw. I mean, I think you're probably almost embarrassed when you had to sign it. Now, why didn't you pay it back the $1,500?
Financial difficulties.
How'd you pay for your Armani suit?
You gotta look nice.
How did you pay for your Armani suit?
Paid for it in full.
How?
Cash or check.
I can't deal with him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
All parties on Fleming versus Bradburn. Step forward, please.
Bar owner Robert Fleming is suing his former bartender, 24-year-old Brandy Bradburn, for not repaying a loan. Brandy is countersuing for her last paycheck.
Order. All rise. Judge, this is case number 605 on the calendar in the matter of Fleming versus Bradburn.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Fleming, I've read your complaint. It indicates that the defendant was an employee of yours in your bar.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And she was there for how long?
About 10 months.
What kind of work did she do?
She was a bartender.
According to you, you made a loan to her of some money.
That's correct.
And she didn't repay that loan?
Not yet, no.
What was the money for?
Well, it was to pay off a speeding fine which had gone to a warrant. It was for minor repairs to her car, which she couldn't get insurance on. It needed smogging, and she wanted to pay the licensing for it too.
And how did the loan come about?
Well, one evening she was closing up after the day's trading, and I noticed she was crying. She was pretty upset, and I assumed that one of the customers or something had happened to upset her. When I inquired as to what was wrong, she was a bit reluctant to tell me at the start, but finally I said, look, leave the money alone, because if you're not counting it properly, she couldn't concentrate, and sit down and tell me what the problem is. Finally she did, and she said that this speeding fine had gone to a warrant. She was concerned, very worried, that she was going to be arrested, etc., etc. She had an estimate for the repairs and approximate for everything, and it came to about $650. So I said, look, I'll lend you the money. Don't worry about it anymore. Concentrate on your job. You're no good to me if you can't, if you can't concentrate. And we'll get this matter sorted out. You can pay me monthly. She said, Bob, if you lend me the money, I'll pay you weekly. I said, fine, not a problem. I paid the speeding fine the very next day, and then later, it was 2 days later or something, I gave her the money for the repairs, for the smog, for the insurance, and the licensing of the vehicle.
Did you personally pay the speeding ticket?
Yes, I did.
And how did you go about doing that?
On a credit card over the telephone.
Had she given you the ticket?
No, she gave me the details, and I called the Riverside Police Station. They had it on file, of course.
When you say she gave you the information, how did she give you the information which enabled you to call the Riverside Police?
She gave me her name, date of birth, license number of the vehicle, the date that the booking occurred.
Okay. You clearly acknowledge that he paid this ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's start with the ticket. Tell me your version of the events about the ticket.
I did get the slip. I got it in the mail, and I took it to work with me that day, so it wasn't at night when I was counting my money out. And I was upset about it, but I wasn't hysterical. And I did talk to Bob about it. We were friends at one point, and I did talk to him about it. And he did tell me not to worry about it, and I had left the slip there that I'd gotten in the mail. The next day when I came in, Bob handed it to me, and he said, I've paid this for you. I told him that I would have to pay him back, and he told me not to worry about it. And then we went through this forever, about me asking to pay it back, and he telling me not to worry about it.
Let's get to the other money that you borrowed from him. What'd you borrow that for?
Ma'am, I did not. Bob had given me a check one time for $1,500 that I ripped and promptly gave back to him.
Smogging your car, insurance on your car, license plates for your car. He didn't pay for any of that for you?
No, he didn't.
You have any proof, sir, that you gave her money other than paying this ticket?
Yeah, Mr. McCarthy was there when I gave it to her. It was in the morning.
Is this your partner?
Yes.
Step up, sir. Mr. McCarthy?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you present when he gave her the other $400?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he give it to her in check or cash?
Cash.
You saw her accept it in her hand?
That's correct.
Bob never, ever, ever, at any given point, ever gave me cash in my hand, ever. And about the loan that he says it's a loan, Bob pulled me aside numerous times. I mean, we have this whole sexual harassment thing going on. I mean,
you're going to tell me about your counterclaim in a minute. Right now, I'm talking about his lawsuit, which I find a couple of things suspect about your answer. Let me read you a few things from your answer.
Okay.
First of all, you just told me that this was a gift. He said to you, don't worry about paying me back, don't worry about anything else. Right. But in your answer, which is your sworn statement, you say, Bob told me that if I did his books at work, he would pay me $50 a week in cash and deduct $50 a week from the ticket he paid for me.
Right, Your Honor, but in my defense, I was after him all the time. My mother even offered to pay that money to him. I offered to pay it. Finally, he said, if it really means that much to you, you can help me out doing my books, and I'll take $50 off and pay you $50.
Good. So then there was an agreement that you would do his books and he would deduct $50 a week.
Right.
How long did you do his books?
Approximately a month and a half.
Did you do your books?
Yeah, she was helping with the paperwork. Yeah.
About how long?
Like she said, about a month and a half.
Okay, so that's 6 weeks. And did you pay her?
6 weeks.
Did you pay her for doing that, or did you actually deduct the $50 a week?
No, not to my recollection, I didn't.
So 6 weeks, $50 is?
$300.
Okay, so that we're clear. I believe that he gave you this other money, and including the parking ticket, you owe him $650. I'm deducting the $300 that you should have got for doing the books, because you should get credit for that. That was your agreement. That leaves $350 left. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Ms. Bradburn, say in your counterclaim that he refused to give you your last paycheck.
Correct.
Tell me about it.
Okay, the night that I left work, I'd left really upset and I'd quit and I'd walked out. 2 days later, I'd called him and asked him if I could pick up my check. He was at the bar. He told me, yeah, fine, whatever. It was a real short conversation. So I went down there that evening with Rich, who was my boyfriend at the time. I went down there that evening to pick up my check. The bartender that was working told me that my check was not there. I asked her if she would get Bob on the phone. She got Bob on the phone. I talked to him. By the time I got off the phone with him, I was in tears. He called me all sorts of things, told me I wasn't getting the money.
How much money did he owe you at that point?
Approximately $300 is the minimum I should have got for the time I'd worked.
How many days' pay was that?
A week and a half.
When she left, was there money outstanding?
She had a paycheck to pick up. Yes, there was.
How much?
I think it was, from memory, I think it was $160. That's all.
Did she pick it up?
No, she didn't. I haven't seen her since the time she left. This is the first time I've laid eyes on her. And I haven't spoken to her in the meantime. I tried on several occasions to contact her. Her telephone had been disconnected. I talked with friends of hers who said that she had moved back home with her parents into some house that they just recently rented. Nobody knew where it was. I finished up calling her grandmother on 3 occasions and left messages there.
What were you calling her for?
To find out what to do with her paycheck, where to send it to. I had no address, I had nothing.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's all a crock of... If he had my grandmother's number, he obviously had my mother's number. He never once tried to call them.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I, quite frankly, Mr. Fleming, don't think that somebody is in business like you are as Santa Claus.
And later today,
everybody has one life to live, unless you think you're going to come back as an Eskimo pie. Right? You have one life to live.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bar owner Robert Fleming claims former bartender Brandy Bradburn owes him for a loan. Brandy says Robert owes her for her last paycheck.
Mr. Fleming, let me tell you something. You know, sometimes a little bit of truth on this side and a little bit of truth on this side, sir. I don't know of an employer who was acting reasonably that would make as many phone calls and contacts as you just told me you did to try to give her $160. Maybe my boss would do that if I moved. No, he would. But I don't know of any normal person who would do that ran a business establishment. Now, if you told me that you called her to find out whether you were going to get your money back, that I could understand.
I didn't call her for that purpose.
Why not?
I wrote it off, to be honest with you. I thought, well, that's the end of that.
You see, my problem is, let me tell you what doesn't make sense, Mr. Fleming. What doesn't make sense is you're prepared to write off the money that she owes you.
Right.
But you're not prepared to write off money that you owe her.
Well,
that doesn't make sense to me.
It was her wages.
Does that make sense to you?
Not at all.
One is, you say it's her wages.
She did.
Mr. Fleming. Look at your partner over there. He's got it. You see, if somebody owed me money and walked out and quit in a huff over whatever reason, right, I would say I'm going to get stiffed from the money she borrowed from me. What you're saying is you owed her at most $160. So if I were a person, I would use my math and I would say to myself, I'm still in the hole $70, right? But at least I'm going to write off her pay for what she owes me. Because I, quite frankly, Mr. Fleming, don't think that somebody is in business like you are as Santa Claus.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Sure, step up. Who are you?
I'm Brandy's mother.
Go ahead.
I know for a fact that she did not borrow $400 from this man. We knew that there was a ticket She'd gotten the notice, she'd taken it to work, she'd left it there. She came back the next day, it was paid. I went up to this gentleman.
Just a second. You don't know any of that. You don't know any of that. That's what your daughter told you.
That's what I told her.
Shh. That's what your daughter told you. What are you looking at me like that for? What am I saying to you that you don't understand? What I'm saying to you is you don't know that. You know what your daughter told me. She's already told me the story. The fact that she repeated the story to you doesn't make it true.
Your Honor.
Why are you looking so confused? Are you confused about what I said?
Well, it's very simple. I know for a fact that she didn't take the money.
How do
I
you
know my
that?
daughter.
Just because you know your daughter. Sit
Period.
down.
I
Sit
know
down.
my daughter.
Sit down. No, all right. $650 less $300, which you should have gotten for taking care of his books, leaves $350. Now, since neither one of you can tell me exactly how much your last paycheck was, because you don't have a clue, you have.
I can give you the last 3 paychecks prior to it, Your Honor.
Fine. What were they?
Strike an average, and I've also.
Good.
One was for 160. One was for 110.
Mm-hmm.
One was for 177.50.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was 205. And part of that.
And that's a week, is that right?
Right.
That's right.
That's a week.
That's
so
$5
all of a
an
sudden,
hour.
so just a second. So all of a sudden, you made twice as much?
No. I didn't
just
say
told-
that. I didn't say that. I was just adding in the fact that he said he was going to pay me on top of that. So I just added the $50 for that week.
I'm just looking at your last 4 paychecks, madam.
Understood.
They didn't get to $300. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. I'm averaging the last paycheck at $150. Thank you very much. That's all.
Eyes are excused. You may step out.
I think he's a big liar. He always has been, and a cheat and a thief.
Don't lend money out to people. They only end up screwing you.
He's asking me to marry him and have his children and dump my boyfriend and change my life and touching me and grabbing me and keeping me and irritating me, so I left.
There's never been any harassment.
And now the next case.
All parties on Redding versus Ullman. Step forward, please.
36-year-old Carlene Redding claims her ex-husband, 41-year-old Thayer Ullman, owes her for a credit card bill. Thayer says that bill was covered in the divorce.
How long are you folks divorced?
It's been approximately 2 years.
Is that correct?
2.5.
Did you have an attorney?
Yes.
Did you have an attorney?
Yes, I did.
This lawsuit, Ms. Redding says that your former husband caused you to have a credit card bill that you think he should pay for.
Yes.
He says that that was all resolved in the divorce, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the judgment of divorce while I'm asking you some questions. See it, please.
It's on page 3 of the property. So.
Now, Ms. Redding, what credit card is this?
Citibank Visa.
When were you separated?
Probably 6 months before that.
6 months before the divorce? Is that right?
Yes.
September of '96 is the date of your divorce. On page 2, which is an important part, you directed me to page 3, but on page 2 it says the petitioner and respondent shall each indemnify the other. That means that you'll cover the other for court costs. And it further says that any other debts or obligations incurred in his name, is your name, since the separation are yours. Right?
That's right.
That's what it says. So 6 months prior to your divorce would be March of '96. So show me these bills that you have from Citibank Visa that you claim he is responsible for.
This card was run up way before she even left anyway, because it was already maxed out.
I just want to see, sir, if there are any charges there after March of 1996.
Yes, ma'am.
If there weren't any charges on that card that were yours after 1996, then Ms. Redding is responsible because she agreed to pay the Citibank card in the divorce.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're the one who's ultimately going to suffer. You put a period to the end of this relationship, you got a divorce, move on with it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carlene Redding is suing her ex-husband, Thayer Ullman for a credit card bill.
So, Ms. Redding, what I want to see are those charges that were made after March of 1996. All right. This Citibank Visa card you agreed to pay for in the judgment of divorce. You were represented by an attorney.
Yes.
Fine. So this card had a substantial balance on it.
I did not run it up.
Doesn't listen to me. Man, let me take care of this business my way first. What is Klepper's Corner?
That's a gas station, Your Honor.
Do you use that?
I put probably 4 or 5 charges in the gas. We both did.
I'm talking about after March of 96.
I didn't think there was any charges after.
March of 96, I have a Klepper's Corner, $19. Another Klepper's Corner, and that's gas. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
For $23. And another, what's Phillips?
It's a gas station, too.
It's a gas station. Well, who fills up there?
Not me. I pay cash.
Do you still live in the same area?
No, I live in Salina, Kansas.
And where do you live?
I live in Fallon, Kansas, which is a small town outside Salina.
But you live in Salina?
Yes.
When did you move there?
Shortly after our divorce.
After your divorce or after your separation?
Separation.
Well, then these are all your bills.
That's right.
Because this is all from Salina, Kansas. All of these gas cards are from Salina, Kansas. And they're not very much to begin with. Let me tell you what they are. You're talking about $100. Period. The rest of the bills are yours, madam. I mean, so what did you bring him here for? Come on, talk to me.
I can't afford to pay this.
Well, but that's not his fault. And the judgment of divorce clearly says that any bills that were incurred after the parties separated are their own individual bills. Now, you understood this, right?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't come back 2 years later and say, I just can't afford to pay it, and they want to do a do-over.
Your Honor, can
What?
I say- When we separated, she had the choice of what bill she was going to pay. For 2 years, she has done nothing but harassed me, harassed my family. My daughter has gone to a counselor for over 6 months because of this woman. I don't belong here.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Are you in a family dispute? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Miss Redding,
Yes, ma'am.
this marriage is over.
Yes. I
You
know
have
that.
no children together?
No.
Good. You had a divorce. You had counsel. It's finished. And I'm just going to say to you that everybody has one life to live, unless you think you're going to come back as an Eskimo pie, right? You have one life to live. And if you're going to spend your life on a lot of negative energy, you're the one who's ultimately going to suffer. You put a period to the end of this relationship, you got a divorce, move on with it. These are your responsibilities. You have to take care of them. You got to leave him alone, because if you don't have children together, there is absolutely no reason for you to have any contact with this man or his family. And if you do, one of these days, he's going to file a lawsuit with you civilly for harassment, or he's going to have you arrested criminally for harassment. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's going to be very unpleasant. This case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
All parties on Sewell versus Ware. Step forward, please.
40-year-old clerk Carol Sewell is suing former boyfriend, 29-year-old James Ware, for keying her car and ripping a gold chain from her neck. James is countersuing for damage to his car and harassment.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 674 on the calendar in the matter of Sewell versus Ware. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
All right, Miss Sewell, you and the defendant had been involved in some sort of a relationship He went to jail, according to your complaint. When he got out of jail, he keyed your car. Is that right?
Yes, he did.
Did you see him do it?
I seen him do it the second time. The first time, my sister saw him do it.
Step up here. What was he in jail for, by the way? What were you in jail for, sir?
She sent me to jail for, well, it wasn't jail. I caught a parole violation. The way the parole system works is all she has to do is make a complaint, and they put me back in prison.
How long were you on parole?
I was on parole for 4 years.
What were you originally incarcerated for?
Involuntary manslaughter.
And during that parole period, she called and registered a complaint about you.
Yes.
Was her complaint domestic violence?
More or less. I have her charges here.
Let me see. And when you went back to jail, how long did you serve, sir?
She did it a couple of times. The first time was 6 months, and the second time was 2 years.
You did 6 months, but that wasn't on a parole violation.
Well, yeah, it was on a parole violation that I did a 6-month violation because she said that I had stole her gold chains, and she's done this a couple of times. It's like a fatal attraction that she has for me.
All right. Listen to me. Did you ever witness him keying her car?
Yes, I did. The first
What's
scratch.
your name?
Sandra Masal.
Miss Masal, when was that?
It was the end of October. He came to my house on a Saturday.
October of 98?
98. Came to my house about 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, knocked on the door. I got up because she was asleep, and I asked who it is. He said, Jamie, and he looked in my window, the top of the door, and I said, just a minute. And I went and woke her up, and I said, Carol, Jamie's out there, and I told you I don't want him on my property anymore. So she gets up, she goes outside, stayed out there about 20 minutes. She came back in, and I was watching out my bedroom window, and he walked over to the car with his key and went right down the side of her car.
Jamie, this lady is telling me the truth. When did you get out of jail?
I got out of jail August 29th, 1998.
8/29. So a month later, you were at her house.
No, I live with my fiance.
No. A month later, you went to her house.
No, I didn't.
You mean to tell me she's lying when she says you even came to the house to talk to her?
Very true.
In October?
I haven't been allowed at her house, Your Honor, for
that never
a couple years.
Jamie. Jamie. You have to be careful, because then I won't believe anything that you tell me. Now, tell me about the gold chains.
Well,
you say you have the receipts for the gold chains. She says you ripped them off her neck.
yes, Your Honor. She's made malicious stories up on several occasions.
Well, I understand that. Your defense is not that it didn't happen. You said they're my chains, and I have the receipts for them.
Yeah, here's the receipt.
All right, so there you go. Let me see the receipt, please.
Sure. I'm unsure of what chain she's talking about.
Just a minute. Jamie. Jewelry. Where'd you get this from?
This was...
Where'd you get... Where'd you get this from Jamie?
Grand Discount Store.
No, where did you get it from in order to bring it to court today?
This was part of my parole package. These were the letters that she had sent. This was stuff that I'd saved while I was incarcerated.
Where did you get this receipt from?
Where did I buy the chain, Your Honor? This Grand Discount.
Jamie, we're going to go over this one more time. Otherwise, I'm going to send you outside, give you a copy of my first book. You know what the title is?
What is it, Your Honor?
Tell him, Bird.
Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
So I'm going to ask you again, Janie. Where did you get this piece of paper with the date 11/4/96?
Okay, that goes with the copy of the report that I handed you. She said that I had sold her chain in '96. I'm unsure of what chain she's talking about.
She's talking about the one you ripped off her neck.
Well, see, she said that I had stolen... Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She said, I don't know, Your Honor.
Well, tell me about how he ripped this gold chain off your neck.
I bought them gold chains at the Grand Discount over there by my job, 2 years, a year while he was locked up.
When did he rip them off your neck is what I want to know.
November 12th, 1998, at my job, when he brought the hatchet up to my job, which is on the police report that I have, charging him with a felony of robbery.
Okay.
That's what she says, sir. She said you came up to her job, you ripped the gold chains off her neck. Police report was filed on that date, November 12th, 1998. Are you telling me, Jamie, that you were never in her office?
No, that's her birthday, Your Honor, my fiance.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Are you telling me that you were not in her office on that day?
Yes, Your Honor, that's what I'm saying.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I was with my fiance on her birthday.
I have a witness that he was with them that day, after he went to my job.
Name?
Donald Souders. I've just gotten off that work that day, Your Honor, and he stopped by. Well, actually, he called me first.
Were you friends?
Yeah, we were friends until, you know, some mishaps. But he called me. We were supposed to go to the gym that night. So, you know.
On November 12th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, it was his girlfriend's birthday. How come he wasn't with her?
I don't know. He was with us. He was with me, my cousin, and my brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
As we were getting ready to leave, we've gotten a page with a 911 saying the police were looking for him. So we didn't know nothing, you know, about it till when we got home. And that's when he handed us the chain and said, give him back to Carol. We asked him why. He said because he went down there to get his pager and she wouldn't give it. He took a hatchet, was going to smash in her car if he didn't give the pager back. Then he snatched the chain. I told him he should have went about it a legal way to get that pager back. And he said it was too late and to give the chains back, and he left.
And what did you do with the chains?
I tried to call Carol up and see if she wanted them back because I didn't really want to get involved, but she was upset.
Where are the chains now?
She has them in her car.
Well, why didn't you bring them in so I could see them?
They're in the car. I forgot to bring them.
All right.
I got the halves in the car.
Show me the bill for the paint job on your car where he keyed it.
Your Honor?
What?
I was in Oregon on November 12th with my fiance.
So you mean he's lying and she's lying?
They're lying completely. I wasn't even in California on the 12th. That was her birthday, Your Honor.
Show me.
I was completely unprepared for that.
You mean to tell me the police never tried to contact you?
They never
Jamie, listen to me carefully, sir. Are you telling me that the police officer in this case never tried to contact you or never contacted you with regard to this complaint? Is that what you're telling me?
Your Honor, I cannot recall. I do recall, however.
No, don't tell me that you were in Oregon.
Honestly, Your Honor, I don't recall.
Well, you better recall, sir. I'm going to tell you why. Because if I were facing 25 years to life as a predicate felon, I would be very well aware of the fact that the police department contacted me on another violation. So I want you to think about it. I would be more aware of that than I would be whether or not I spent my girlfriend's birthday with her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's something wrong with you. No. You had him put in jail because he raped you and violated you. Then you sent him nude pictures of yourself. What are you, Coco?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carol Sewell claims former boyfriend James Ware keyed her car and stole her gold chains. James says he paid for the chains and is countersuing for damage to his car and harassment.
Mr. Ware, on your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my worst day. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay. Do you have an estimate on keying the car?
I have the estimates, the picture.
Let me see it.
To my car. The IOUs, the canceled checks he owes me for.
All right, the lowest estimate is $1,200. Now, you have a counterclaim.
Yes.
You say she keyed your car.
Yes, she did.
And she's been harassing you.
Yes, she has.
Okay, let me hear, Mr. Ware.
Well, she did key my car, all right? She drives by my house yelling out malicious statements. She calls my phone and hangs up.
She calls your phone and hangs up. How do you know it's her?
Well, because when my mother answers, she won't say anything, and if I say hello, she'll respond.
Just a minute. So when you answer the phone, she talks?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's not a hang-up.
When everybody else answers, she hangs up.
So how do you know it's her?
Because she might have to call several times before I answer.
Okay. What's next?
She threw new pictures of herself in my fiance's car.
Let me see.
I have a witness to the keying of my car.
Listen to me. Shh. Did you ever put pictures of yourself undressed in his girlfriend's car?
No, I didn't.
Well, how did he get these pictures?
I was out in front of his house talking to his girlfriend.
Yeah?
He took the picture of me sitting in the car, and then he took... That's not his car. That's his father's car, by the way.
Do me a favor.
Sure.
Show her these pictures.
Well, them pictures?
Hey!
Oh. These pictures, I sent him to him in prison. That's how he got the pictures. You're allowed to send new pictures to prison.
Just a second. When did you send them?
It was when he was in Avenal.
That's when you had him put in jail?
Yeah, when I put him in jail.
There's something wrong with you.
I know.
You had him put in jail, according to you, because he raped you and violated you. That's you said in the... And then you sent him nude pictures of yourself.
Your Honor.
What are you, Coco? Jay, whiz. I just changed my mind. What a nut. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
I understand what you're talking about. I've told her.
Keep going, Mr. Ware. You're getting to look better and better to me. Hey,
Order.
Quiet. Or I'll clear the courtroom.
Now you understand. She drives by my house. There's pictures of her yelling at my fiancé, harassing her, Your Honor.
I suggest you move, Mr. Ware. You have not been...
Your Honor. I was living with her, and she was driving by, harassing her, and she called my house, you know. It's just nice that it's finally recognized. It was 2 years of my life, Your Honor, that I spent in prison because of the things she does. Here's letters that I just like to submit.
Yeah, but you went up to her office and you took your gold chains back. You know, I try to get to the truth, sir. I try to get to the truth. If you tell me the truth all the time, I'll listen to you. But you got to tell me the truth all the time, sir.
She knows, Your Honor, she knows a lot of it. I can't even say it. It really hurts me to say things like this.
Just a second.
He witnessed the keying of my car. Those pictures were taken just this Sunday. Gary, he was out there. He saw her drive up. She was yelling. She was upping up her lawsuit to $2,000.
Step up here, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, you better see to it that she gets some psychiatric help, madam. What?
She's nuts.
She's nuts. Your sister.
Yeah.
Right.
Closed captioning, sponsored in part by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy. Carol Sewell is suing former boyfriend James Ware for keying her car and ripping gold chains from her neck.
When did you observe her driving by his house?
Sunday just passed, Your Honor.
Did you drive by his house this last Sunday?
Yes, I did.
For what?
Well, last week he came up to me and he got me and he wanted money. So to feed his dogs, I wrote him a check because I didn't have the cash on him. Then he brought his father up to my job and said that I didn't have no money, so I told him to return me the check then. But I had money.
Did you take a check from her?
No.
What is she talking about?
I don't even know, Your Honor. She sat out front of my mother's house. One time I had got out of prison for 3 days waiting for me to show up. She's witness to that. She followed me to my job, stopped me. I lost my job, a letter of termination, because she was yelling, cricking, screaming, yelling, how could I cheat on you in my job? It wasn't the best job, Your Honor. I'm not proud to say I was making pornos.
Something is wrong with you, madam. You better go to see a psychiatrist.
For
you
what?
better go see a psychiatrist.
For what?
Because you can't leave him alone.
Leave him alone? I work 13 hours a day. I don't have time to be bothered.
Listen to me. You can't leave him alone. You want to know why I know that that's true? Because no person in their right mind who says somebody violated them the way you say he violated you would turn around and send nude pictures of themselves to prison.
That was 2 years ago.
I don't care. You had him sent to jail.
I did.
For sexually violating you. And then you turn around and send him nude pictures of yourself? There's something wrong with you. Big time. Big time. Are you a friend of hers?
No, I'm her sister.
Well, you better see to it that she gets some psychiatric help, madam.
We try.
What?
We tell her.
Well,
She don't
stand up
listen.
here. Stand up here. You tell her?
Yeah, she don't listen, and then he's just as bad as she is. He does the same thing to her.
Just a second. He may.
Yeah.
He may. She's your sister. She's coming here and telling me she filed a complaint. She said she had him sent to jail.
Mm-hmm.
She had him sent to jail for raping and violating her.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, When he's in jail for violating her, she sends him provocative pictures. And when I asked her why, she said, because you're allowed to send nude pictures to people in jail. Right?
She's nuts.
I'm afraid
She's nuts.
of him.
Your sister. Right.
I'm
Listen to me.
afraid of him. That's what I am.
You're afraid of him.
I'm
People
afraid
are afraid,
of him.
don't do this, madam. People are afraid,
Believe
don't
me,
do that.
it's out of fear. He's threatened to kill me before, and I'm afraid.
Then you shouldn't go by his house. You shouldn't go by his house for anything. Nothing. Who saw her key his car? Step. I don't believe the fiancée. She was about to lie about a birthday, so I'm not listening to her. Who are you?
His neighbor.
His neighbor.
Yes, ma'am.
Your name?
Antonio Elizarraz.
Last name?
Elizarraz.
That's a hard one. Antonio, right?
Yes.
Tell me what you saw her do, if anything, to his car.
My window's right here, like right in back, and I seen like around 11:15.
When was this?
On the 8th of Monday, March.
On the 8th of March of this year.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And her and another young man got off her car, and started hitting his car with a bat and breaking the windows and everything like that.
You saw that?
Yes, ma'am.
Here's a police report.
I don't know.
Let me see.
And the estimate to the car.
I never got out of my car.
Sir, are you positive it was her?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know it was her?
Because she drives a purple Thunderbird.
And it was the purple Thunderbird.
And almost every day she passes with her lights off, going down, up and down the streets.
How do you know that?
Because it's her. She works in Burger King.
And you've seen it?
I always go to Burger King. I see her every day.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Call 1-888-800-JUDY. On the internet, judgejudy.com.
Mr. Ware, listen to me, sir. You've convinced me.
Okay.
How's that?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
How are you related to her?
I'm her nephew.
Well, you better all work on her to get some help.
We try, Your Honor.
Has she ever been psychiatrically hospitalized?
Nope.
Well, she's going to find herself in a very, very difficult situation because this man is going to be tested. You know, I'm not saying he did everything right. I believe that he probably did a key on her car because I believe you that he keyed her car. I believe that you keyed her car, sir. Trust me. I believe that she's telling me the truth because she has told me that her sister's crazy. Why would she tell me that her sister's crazy and lie about you? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I believe you keyed her car, and the estimate for the car is $1,200, right? Now, I also believe that she's made your life a holy hell. I don't believe that you're mentally unbalanced, but I believe that she's mentally unbalanced. The last 2 years that you did in prison, was that violation based solely on her complaint?
She said I stole her gold chains, threatened harassing her. She said I sodomized her. There's, what, 5 complaints. Sodomized her.
Okay. Forget about your gold chains. They're in the car. He keyed your car. To fix your car is $1,200. He says you've been harassing him, keying his car, and torturing him. I believe him. He's suing you for $5,000. I'm giving him $5,000. That means you get nothing, and he gets $3,800. Judgment for the defendant.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Is Judge Judy.
All parties on Moriarty versus Peter Fay. Step forward, please.
28-year-old student pilot Elliot Moriarty claims flight instructor Laszlo Peterfay is responsible for his plane running out of gas, forcing him to land on a California freeway. Elliot says he now suffers from fear of flying.
Order. All rise. This is case number 648 on the calendar in the matter of Moriarty versus Peter Fay. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Mr. Moriarty, I really, after all these years on the bench, thought that I had seen everything till I read your complaint. You were taking flying lessons.
Yes, Your Honor.
From him.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long did you take flying lessons from him?
I believe it was approximately 3 months.
Had you taken flying lessons from anyone else?
Not flying lessons, but a thrill ride at Torrance Airport.
What?
A thrill ride.
Thrill ride?
Right.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm an assistant manager.
What kind of company?
A restaurant.
You get to the restaurant by driving your car?
Bike.
You don't have a car?
No, Your Honor.
How old are you?
28 now.
So you were taking flying lessons, and then there came a time when you were flying solo, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you ran out of gas.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you landed on a freeway.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're suing him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you can explain that to me.
The explanation is this, Your Honor, that upon my entire training, I was never trained or taught on how to fuel an airplane. It's not like a car. I've asked him one time before, how do you fuel up? He told me, don't worry about it now, I'll show you later.
Fuel up. Now, what do you have to do to fuel up? When you're driving a car, you pull into either one of two lanes. Either it says full service, the one that I like, or self-service, the one that I don't understand at all. And then you get out, and I've seen people, they open up the thing, and they put the thing in the thing, and you fill up your car with gas.
I understand.
Does it work the same way with a plane?
No, Your Honor.
Do you put the gas in the plane?
No, Your Honor.
So somebody else puts the gas in a plane?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you go to a plane gasoline station.
No, what happens is, I guess you call somebody, either a frequency or by phone,
Yes.
and I was never included in...
You don't want me to think you're stupid, do you? So just answer my question. Periodically, a plane needs gasoline because it doesn't fly on dreams.
Right.
Now, is there a gauge in the plane that it says fuel?
Yes, there is, Your Honor.
And it has a little stick? Because I know about that stick. With the cars today, they even talk to you. You're out of gas, you're out of gas. But I assume that they don't have that in planes. They have a gauge. You do know how to look at the gauge.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when it starts to get on empty,
Well, I can give you the explanation.
Then you'd say to yourself, I think I need gas.
Well, here it is, Your Honor. Upon my solo cross-country, I have to perform a dual cross-country. Throughout that dual cross-country, we did not fuel up at Santa Barbara or Santa Ynez.
So just a second. You went together
Yes.
on a dual cross-country
Beforehand.
before you went solo.
Yes, Your Honor.
And during that trip, you didn't fuel.
No, Your Honor. We fueled up at Van Nuys, and when I made my flight plan, I put 4.5 hours, which is a direct reflection of a full tank for the type of aircraft I was flying. Now, his job as an instructor is to review my flight plan and to make sure there's no mistakes on it whatsoever. Upon his evaluation of my reviewing my flight plan, he just, I don't know, totally missed it. And we together went down, did a check, checked the airplane. I checked the fuel on the wings to make sure that it corresponds with the amount of fuel on the needle, which was approximately, if I remember correctly, about 2/3. I told him what it was in there. It was fine with him. So I'm the student, and he's the instructor. If it's fine with him, I felt, okay, then his judgment is correct.
Before I got in a plane, there'd be a full tank of gas, that's for sure. I mean, if I were ever stupid enough to get in a plane unless I had to go someplace.
Right, but he was totally aware of how much fuel I had. He didn't say anything about it.
You have no responsibility for this. I understand from here, from your papers, that you have footage of you landing on the freeway?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm dying to see that.
Very lucky, Your Honor.
Look at that plane. Looks like something you put together with those little sticks. One fits in, you know what I'm talking about, Bert? Remember those things we used to have as kids? Put balsam wood.
That's right.
Right? Flat thing, and you put one in the other, and you rubber band, and you go.
Little glider.
Wouldn't trust my life to one of those things.
Your Honor?
What?
Okay, well, first of all, see, all this started over him refusing to pay me my unused fee. After the incident, I basically induced naturally this fear of flying. I discontinued it.
So is this what it's about? You discontinued your flying, and you want your money back for what you didn't use?
Let me clarify that really good. Okay, when I discontinued, I wanted the remainder of my unused fees.
Right.
Now, he sent me a check the first time for $90.
How much do you think it is?
$147.
$147?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So why are you suing him for $3,100?
That's what I would like to get into. This basically escalated up to this point because when he decided to keep my money, as if that wasn't enough experience for me, it made me rethink everything over again. And this is what I concluded that, okay, I ran out of fuel, I landed on the freeway. Okay, Whose fault is it? Was it really my fault or was it his fault? When I rethought everything over, throughout my training, I've been given inadequate training and lack of supervision. His lack of supervision is not reviewing my flight plan correctly, as he is responsible to do so by the federal aviation regulations. And in one of his letters, he stated to me, without dispute, he will refund my money back. As of to date, he has not.
Refund how much money?
The $147.
Fine, I have no problem with giving you back your $147. I have a problem with $3,100.
Well, if I can
you don't
establish...
if you don't like, sir, the kind of instruction that you're getting from a pilot, then you say, I'm not satisfied with the quality of the training that you're giving me. What you're saying to me is a 28-year-old man who lands his plane on a freeway and walks away without a scratch, instead of getting down on the floor and thanking God that you landed on the freeway, decided to sue somebody. That's America.
No, Your Honor.
That's America. Not only decide to sue him for the remainder of your outstanding fees that you had already prepaid, that even I could understand, but sue him for everything else, because we're a country of a lot of navel gazers. You know, you sit down here and say, now let me see, $147, but I really think that he gave me a fear of flying, and he didn't train me right all the 3 months I was a student, and you had a lot of time to think about it. You're lucky you weren't thinking about it with all of your appendages in casts. It would be ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you wrote him the letter, should have said, here's the check for $147. I'm very sorry you're not using my services anymore. Goodbye and good luck. And next time, try an airport.
And later today,
You used her library card and you took out 23 books. And then she starts getting billed for $1,000 because you didn't return the books. Baloney.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Elliot Moriarty says his flight instructor, Laszlo Peterfey, is responsible for his plane running out of gas, forcing him to land on a California freeway. Laszlo is countersuing for loss of work.
Now, let's get to your ridiculous counterclaim. You want to tell me about it, or you just want to say, I'm sorry, I'm withdrawing it?
Actually, no, ma'am.
All right, so now I'm ready for you.
The counterclaim is I wrote Mr. Moriarty a letter stating that I don't want to dispute the $147. And several days after this, I got a letter from the FAA. And based on the information that Mr. Moriarty provided the FAA, they wrote me a letter saying that if I don't respond within 10 days, my pilot certificates will be suspended.
Mm-hmm.
My livelihood is flying. So this jeopardized my career.
But they did not remove your certification.
Well, I had to go for a re-examination.
Just a second. You had a hearing and had to go for a recertification. Is that right? Now, what you're suggesting, sir, is that he does not have the right to complain about what he believes is inadequate training to the appropriate authority, which in this case was the FAA. Well, the First Amendment to the Constitution says you can complain to anybody about anybody else as long as you are not doing it out of malice. And I believe that even though he's wrong, he believes, after looking at his belly button for a long time, that you didn't give him adequate training, because if you had given him adequate training, he wouldn't have taken off in a plane that didn't have a full tank of gas.
Well, I can prove that I gave him adequate training.
Listen to me. He says he showed you the flight plan when he was going solo, that there was 3/4 of a tank of gas there, and he says he landed on the freeway. All right? So he said he didn't get adequate training. He's allowed to complain to you. I am not going to give him $3,100 that he's asking for, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a grown man, and a grown man who drives a car and who drives a plane ought to know that when the needle goes to empty, you got to get gas. So I'm going to give him his $147, and I tell you, sir, that it would have been wiser for you, instead of responding to him and saying to him, I will not dispute your $147, when you wrote him the letter, should have sent him a check. Should have said, here's the check for $147. I'm very sorry you're not using my services anymore. Goodbye and good luck. And next time, try an airport.
Your Honor. Your Honor, I have a witness here who is a certified flight instructor. He also has an airline transport pilot rating. He has come to me on his own because he evaluated me, and he would like to provide some expert testimony on
about
my training.
what?
About my inadequate training and lack of supervision I was provided.
Listen to me. Do you tap dance?
No, Your Honor.
if you take tap dancing lessons and you don't like the instructor, then you don't use the instructor, you go someplace else.
Your Honor, but when I'm the student, how do I know if I'm being provided with good training?
You mean
or not?
you had to land on the freeway to figure out that you weren't getting good training? Come on.
No,
Wake up, start taking some response. I mean, you have to laugh at this.
No, Your Honor.
Do you have to laugh at this?
Yeah, there's some things that are missing, though.
There are things that are missing there.
There are
One
holes
thing
in
that are
my
missing are
training.
your eyes. Just a second. One thing that are missing are your eyes. If you're a big enough boy to get behind the wheel of a plane and you're riding along and it starts to turn on empty, what you do is you pick up a phone and you say, help. You know, you don't fly until you fly all the way on empty. You know, how many of us have driven with our husbands and we say, it's on empty. Don't tell me it's on empty. I have plenty of gas.
But Your Honor, there's
Right?
clear violations here.
I suggest you stay on your bike. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $147. Counterclaim.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There's two things I knew. I knew at what age I'm going to die, and I knew how I was going to die.
He flew over 10 airports where he had a chance to fuel. I also told him to fuel during the flight.
He reminded me about refueling in Santa Barbara. Before I left on my solo, he reminded me again to refuel in Santa Barbara. Duh.
I don't know. I mean, there's basically pirates in the sea. I never met a pirate in the sky before.
دا خبره وکړي کومه فیس ته پکې نه کېږي چې وشو ورلې سم د سره شته دی ولو مټی دې لکه څه ورته کړه مټی دې کله مې وکړه پسې نشته بیا هم را روان دی ښه اوس داسې کار دی پیر صاحبو نه نه دی کنفرم سټارټ ودرېږه لکه ته زه بیا ښکته راورکړم تا هم ښکته چله
Traga se PUBG
ورا یو مچ یو مچ ایډز باندې موږ څه ډول شو یمونو کې دا لایق دی راځي دا ویل کړم دا گیم سون دیس هانډز انسټال به غواړي کې شو 277
यो घंटे समय वाले
वीडियो पूरा पूरा तो लेवल पबजी की जोड़ा है पहला वीडियो तुम कर दो zombies di kana मला रिचार्ज begini उसको पेरे पति हुआ है ये नस्ता का क्लब है नसर हुए अभी हम गाड़ी पाया नहीं दूध के तो रही थी और अपॉइंटमेंट शुरू 10 मिनट बराबर की सोना बराबर की हाँ सोना शिशिवानी تاسو په ځګې مې تاسو له مونرایزیشن په دغه نه درکې په جج باندې د جج چې مونرایزیشن نه وکړه خلا په دې درکې نه دا صحیح دی لا صحیح دی ځان جوړ کم سے کم چې به وشل منټي ضروري نه ده هذا لو واستايم بروكي قد بيقولوا كمان كان مشكله بس ما نخرج كده تراوله ولا من كل
ما presided
17
duration is 17
دا څنګه 17 په 17 وکتل شو زه ودې ته حیران یم
دا ویډیو ډیره وا د بیا ما ټریم کړه
ها
چې دا ته بیا ټریم کې کنه چې دې
17 برابر یو
چې دینه سیوا ده چې دینه به نه راځي
روانه ده ها غم به بڑا بیر زبیر کوي دا وزګار مې ځان شي نوټایز کړی دا اوله خبره وای په لا په خیر زه په خیر ته وزګار په مور د خود مونږ وزګار ته دخل دا دوره چټه انجوای کوم دا ته نن لا غواړم سره وختي ګاډه ایسته ما چې کړم نو وای دا ګیمونه ما ستاره پر ډاونلوډ کړی خپه نشي کم دی څنګه پریادونه کوي नेट स्टोर है नेट स्टोर हाँ मैं पिंग स्टोर है खबर कर लगूंगा Dapat ni level mobile credit Saya website aja mobile connect dia net jam. Langsung ये तो अक्सर कुछ के साइड में डबल कॉम टीवी और 50 अपॉइंटमेंट किया तो बस बराबर Wi-Fi there had a new
دا اوس هم صفات کې چې زموږ وایفای تیز ده
نه اوس کوئی کارم کمزوري شوی دی نه اوس دا باندې کمزوري شوی دی
ستاسو 56 لیول دی چپن ولا خامخا به دې کړی زستا دا لیول یا دا د گیم لیول څنګه دی No gore.
Nanti sama sudah saya game dari kali.
Okay.
Maaf so kalau beauty pun dia apa ni kalau beauty pun. Okey, dah. Kalau tu nama negara new start ada sudah ada. Jadi negara lain. Kalau ni dan akan di video mana jadi kata mana apa? Ini sharing ni, kan? Dia macam apa dia ni kan? Dia apa yang tu? Dia orang di bawah ini ni. Nak jual dia pakai gitu sana. Dah sudah mulai pilih cepat video terus. मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा खींचता है। Yeah. मैं तो यूज कैसे नहीं लगी मैं ना खबर है वो बच्चा मत क्यों है मेरा वो है और सर तो मैं ख्वाहिश नहीं है तो मैं चाहूँ वो है ऐसा तो सब बहुत ना है
देखिए संग ऐड लगी
या तुम्हारा कंटेंट रहेगा मुझे पड़ेगा मैंने बोला छोटे से गर्मी क्या कहता है गेम स्टार्ट को गया वीडियो को 15 मिनट तो और सब पीडीएम को कहना नहीं उसको मैं वो उसका मिल जाते हैं ऊपर लिविक शेयर है लिविक स्टार्ट हुआ दस है Будет файда не могу. Файда не хватало, но кидать надо уже. Машина достигла до объяснения для. Стоит на так. Не достаточно. Дальше для массы стало это почти не надо. Но только. Это реально симпара. Сейчас говорю. Una por luz que
ना बेसिंग लगी कंटेंट
Sono perché volevo male che pingo sono perché volevo no puede que le quede la primera casi por chaleca pues yo me te lo digo con el de mi loco si no tiene con que esto no es y ahora toda toda banda sola está tratada igual está Чепки хватают, тут же точно времени. Надо сразу брать бурю, но бурю.
Да, вы говорили, лगे संगा.
Automatic लगे हुए हैं, तो आप समझ गए थे ना automatic वाला. Así por su labor a Sarawak kana. Porque se lo perdió Luis Barabón. Reference to sex, blah blah violation. Gambling, blah blah violation. Sexual and reproductive health, blah violation. How much are the huh? What I heard about the thing. جای روان کې خیر ده خو نور هټ ونه چړې نه دا ماته کې کمپیوټر لپاره سیټ کړی وره
بس ما ورته خپل د یو دغه لپاره بیا ته دې ځای کې تاړی
دویم هټ ته جوړ کړو
ستا که دا دی
بیا صحیح ده وره ما په شرمولو سیټ کړی په 3 ګنټې
نه
دا ځان ته کمپیوټر سره نه کنه هته د کیمې پین کوم بیا زه خو ظالم خو دا پبجي گیم زه په هغې کوم په دومره سکرین باندې په هغې به څنګه مزه کوي
په دې کې مزه کوي موږ په دغه موبایل
درګاه وکړه درګاه زه یو ویډیو ریډي کومه لږه او زه ما څونه ویډیو شو ته وګوره
25
پوره
صبر
وکړه ساتل لما اوري نه اوري دا اوري د څه وي لما اوري نه ما تاسو په اوري ځه ها بل څه د کور خبره نه کوم د کور غم نه کوم ته فواید تاسو نه پروګرام تاسو ته دي
بس دا 26 پورې 26 پورې بس ته اوس بل نه شروع کیږي اوس
اسه واړه مړه سره سټینګ کې کوتي وره و دا تعالی سو پوری نه رښتیا موږ یې له سر پورا کوو سټینګ چې راغوتې مو وګوره دا ما هارز مرز واپس راوړل جارو بند کا زه په موس کې ورډ باندې پبجي کوم آیا تعالی یو بل شنو جوړ کړو ما هغه ته وکړه زه ویډیو غاڼه ته جوړم راغړ سکرین نه دا موبایل ورته ورته ورغوم دا نه ریکارډ خلک څه باندې شیخ کوي په هر سکرین باندې پبجي کوي په نو سکرین باندې وای تعالی دې په شپږ بجې ما کوم باندې راځم بجې کې راځم
ته دغه دغه څنګه اډمټ څنګه لګي
هغه بس اتوماتیک راځي مړه slot automatic bayan there automatic है लेकिन ऐसा 32 का दिन نو ما خلک ته شي راټول یو کس ته یو ورځ یو ویډیو کتل کړم چې هغه په څوم ډېر له نو چې ما کړو آیا ولا یو ته کمنټ او ته شیر جوړ کړل نو په ویډیو په کوی نه شو د افیکټ برابر دی نه وړي کوم ویډیو کوم راځي کیسه هغه ساتره دي دلته دا شو کوي دا نه انالیتکس دی هغه انالیتکس باندې دا به راځي Pinzo. Deve dar até desenho de chegar lá. Não, é pela pera, não se quer. Ah, não, mas não dá nem vida. Dá, está bem. मुझे पता नहीं है वीडियो कहाँ है सही है करना और ये वीडियो बनाना बंद करना है सर ना सब लोगों ने दो बजे नजर आने वाले विषय क्या नजर
نو تا دغه 30 ته 31 ته ته کسو ته ډیوریشن 31 ته ته نو دا نور برخته له لږ څه پریږه سر نو دیواله او ما سره دا نو راځي یو کوم څه دی دلته مو یو چې راځي اوس زما پهله ویډیو جوړ کړو پهله ویډیو خدای هغه باندې 17000 ویوز مزه وشو.